Hello there, fellas. We've gone down a rather interesting path here. You might remember this engine and what sort of car it used to be fitted to. The minivan is long gone, and the engine itself spent a whole year underground, though ultimately after unearthing it we were still able to start it. This here is a Toyota 2C T. Well, it used to be when the turbo was still working, which it doesn't anymore. Now we've gotten a bunch of suggestions for something that we ourselves are pretty curious about, namely to convert a diesel engine to run on gasoline. The problem with that is the obvious compression ratio, the fact that this motor is fitted with a high-pressure diesel pump. There is no ignition system, with the diesel fuel igniting due to being rapidly compressed. Gasoline, as we know, doesn't work that way. It needs a spark to combust. You'd think that this ain't that hard, but the compression ratio and all of those other factors will be a concern. I think now would be an appropriate time to do a compression test. We can already be sure that this diesel engine still has compression. Now, a gasoline engine will show us a reading of 10, 11, 12 kilos, right? That's given that the engine is in decent shape. But in the case of this engine, it has to be way higher. But let's find out by doing a compression check, and then figure out where to go from there. Let's do this. So have I got some good news for you fellas. Some cool new merch available on our website. Like, for example, these sweet signature hoodies. And the good news doesn't end there. The first 25 people to order these hoodies, we'll be offering them a 25% discount. And don't forget that there's a bunch of other stuff that you can order on our website. T-shirts, baseball caps, mugs, document holders. And we're offering some generous discounts on the entire lineup. And on top of any order you make, we'll throw in one of these stickers on the house. Don't miss your chance to get some merch at discount prices. Hit the link in the video description and grab yourself something. Converting a diesel engine to run on gasoline. Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Okay, cylinder numero uno. Time for a compression test. That's enough. It's maxed out at 28. That's cylinder number one. Now we check the next one. Exactly the same, with maximum precision. Number three. Same. Let's try number four. And in number four we got... Who said this motor was in ideal condition? That's 12. The compression in cylinder number 4 has vanished for some reason. But wasn't it running on all four? Weren't we doing good? Well, in any case, here's where we stand. 28, 28, 28, 12. We really need to reduce the compression ratio. Since with this sort of ratio, it's not gonna run on gasoline for very long. That'll just result in a whole lot of detonation. Unless we find some 305 octane gas. Here's what we need to do. First, we remove the cylinder head. We measure the volume of the combustion chambers, fill them with liquid, right? Then we check out the shape of the pistons, which is a mystery to me, since we've never taken this engine apart. Apparently they can be concave, wedge-shaped. I mean, there are a ton of variations. We'll start by tearing all of it apart, of course. Plus there's the matter of cleaning all of the parts so that the engine runs good on gasoline. Okay, enough talk. Let's get this diesel to run on gasoline then. So you might have heard that Vlad is a bit sick, but we are going to continue assembling this engine in the meantime. So our first priority after removing the head was trying to do something about the compression ratio. There is no way an engine with a 23:1 ratio like ours can ever be able to run on gasoline. Yeah, we looked it up and the compression ratio is 23:1 stock. Anyway, so here's what we did. We took an ordinary medical syringe, we filled that with water, and used it to determine how much volume we have in the combustion chambers, inside the bowl with the piston in top dead center, and so on. And amazingly enough, the figures, they precisely corresponded to our own estimates, meaning our calculations were on the money. We divided the cylinder volume by the amount of water we were able to fit in the head and between the top of the engine block and the piston crown. We of course had to factor in the thickness of the head gasket. And after that we removed the pre-combustion chambers. What are they exactly and why do you even need them? Well, in a diesel engine the mixture is ignited inside the head, specifically inside the thing that you call a pre-combustion chamber. That's where the fuel is squirted into and where the glow plug is located. The chamber itself is made from steel, so the head is aluminum, and you've got these steel pre-combustion chambers pressed in. We literally have no other place to install spark plugs other than these chambers, so we've modified them a bit, removing excess material. Now, we worked out that even if we install 2 or 3 head gaskets, we're not going to get the right compression ratio. That's not going to help us get it down to around 10, which is the normal sort of ratio you'd find on a gasoline motor. We were looking at closer to 16 or 18. Our solution for the problem is as simple as it gets. What we did was shave a good 4 millimeters off of the top of each piston. The good thing is that that should give us the 10:1 ratio we're looking for. We are going to be using the fuel injector holes to mount the spark plugs. And another thing that we've sorted is the intake manifold. You see, the thing is that it used to be that this engine just had a hole through which the air was fed. Since on a classic diesel engine design, you don't have a throttle body. So there's no butterfly valve in the intake tract. The air just flows right in, and the fuel system is what adjusts the revs, which is to say that air-fuel mixture modulation essentially acts as the throttle. So at the end of the day, it's all in the fuel system. Right here we've got the gigantic stock fuel pump, which is what used to funnel the fuel and maintain proper dosage. That's no longer useful to us. Instead, we'll have gas coming in through the carby. This is just a regular old Lada manifold. We basically took 2 and made them into 1. To get this engine to run, we need some way to produce spark. After installing the carby, we will have gas supply. As for the spark plug, that'll require a distributor to work. Otherwise, it just isn't going to. We are currently working on the ignition system, so we have to get that sorted. Okay, so this gear is from the high-pressure diesel fuel pump, right? And if we compare it to the camshaft gear, we see that they're absolutely identical. This one down here is a bit smaller, and as for where I'm going with this, well, we're actually looking to hook the distributor up to this gear. Here we've got a nice dizzy from a Lada Samara, and if we were to secure it to this gear, it'll work just like it would on a Lada Samara. As you might know, stock this distributor is mounted on the camshaft. The point is that this gear spins at the exact same rate, meaning it will give us a proper spark. Both types of engines are of the 4-stroke variety. You've got the hardware for an engine with 4 cylinders. It's all the same and it should all work. The idea is to place the distributor where the fuel pump used to sit. It's a great fit in this spot. There's plenty of room. In order to secure this fuel pump gear to the engine, we've gone and fabricated a few metal shafts for the purpose. And plates. You insert this through here. You've got a bearing in there. It's there so that we can attach this gear and allow it to spin. Well, for starters, I guess it'll be a sort of idler gear. It will be, of course, secured. We just have to drill a hole and make a tab. Or we might just bolt it down and call it a day. Okay, so that covers the gear aspect of all of this. And this is a spacer that we'll have sitting on the shaft connected to the same gear. And on top of all of that, you've got the distributor, which will be mounted on this adapter plate. We'll have a few slots that'll allow for some adjustment. Just like you would on a normal car with a distributor. We'll be able to rotate it and tweak the timing. And with that, it's time to carry on. There's really not that much left to do. I expect us to be able to start this engine shortly and get it to run on gasoline. Let's do this. The firing order is the same as on a Lada. We'll be tuning everything using cylinder number 1 as our baseline, at which point we try getting this thing to run. We'll be rotating the dizzy at random. Our end goal is to get this engine to start and rattle. Okay, let's give this a try. Let me just make sure we have fuel supply. Should we close the choke valve off completely? I think we shouldn't. Gas. We've pumped in some fuel. We doing this? I guess, though I am a bit worried. So am I. Oh, for real? It's even revving up. Wow. On our first try, and we legit didn't do any testing, though I did hear Sergey working the starter a bit. So we genuinely fired the engine up on our first try. What an amazing story, and an amazing result. I'm genuinely shocked. I mean, we were improvising the entire way, and it only took one try. If you don't believe that this isn't staged, well, I really don't blame you. I'd be the first to say that this is staged. I mean, come on, we converted a diesel engine to run on gasoline, and lo and behold, it started right off the bat. It even reacted to throttle input. And you got the ignition adjusted. And it's perfect from the get-go. Far freaking out. Okay, we've somewhat fine-tuned the ignition system to ensure that we have some fuel, so that's good. Let's try that again just to make sure that wasn't a fluke. Well, let's get to it. The choke valve isn't all the way closed. Keep going. Runs great, though there is a ton of blow-by. The engine isn't fitted with a flywheel, and as a result it's not particularly stable at low revs. We only got that flex plate that used to be connected to the torque converter, and so it really wants to stall at low revs. Conversely, the revs do build up lightning fast, But all of that is caused by there not being a proper flywheel on this engine. I think you can call this a 107% success. Of course, we'll be very glad to see Vlad back doing his thing, and we wish him a speedy recovery. I'm sure you do too. And well, that's all we have for you. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave some comments, big thumbs up, and see you later.